Arirang Prime.
This is where life begins. This is everyone's hometown, the cradle of nature. From the vast reed fields of Suncheon Bay to the primitive Upo wetland to Ulleung Island, a historic place with mysterious nature. Tune into the sounds of life coming from the dazzlingly beautiful landscapes. Professor Albrecht Huber from Daejeon University has been teaching German for 12 years. Today, he's planning on a special trip with his old friend. The two met in 1997 as teacher and student, and they have maintained a close friendship ever since. Their destination is Ulleung Island.
Das liegt wohl in der Ostsee, in der Nähe von Dokdo. Dokdo kennt ja jeder. Ulleung, habe ich gehört, soll sehr hübsch sein. Also ich habe gehört, es ist eine Vulkaninsel. Also ich war noch eigentlich nie, doch auf Jeju-do war ich schon, auch eine Vulkaninsel. Ja, vielleicht ist das wie Jeju-do. Ich habe nur gehört, es soll sehr interessant da sein.
It takes 3 hours by ship from Pohang to Ulleung Island. Todong Port is where ships bound for Ulleung Island gather. Despite the inclement weather, the island is full of tourists. As expected, Todong Port has many fisheries markets. Tourists stop by to check out the fresh seafood straight from the East Sea.
이 고기가 몇백 마리 중에 그거는 한 마리가 있을까 말까. 지금이 가장 맛이 있고 기름기가 있고 지금 가장 좋을 그런 시기. 아이고 나
Professor Huber holds up a big fish. His first encounter with Ulleung Island is this living creature, full of life.
Finde ich das Element heute stärker, also Wasser. Und ich habe zum ersten Mal so einen großen Fisch in der Hand gehabt, dass das Meer so etwas produziert und der Mensch holt das an die Oberfläche, das finde ich irgendwie faszinierend. Also ich finde, jedes Stück müsste man ins Museum legen, weil es so toll aussieht.
Ulleung Island is known for its stormy weather. Visits are random and only permitted on fine days. As a volcanic island, it's full of big and small uneven rocks. All kinds of plants grow among uniquely shaped rocks that were formed by volcanic lava.
Ja, hier sind an einem besonderen Ort. Hier sieht es aus, als würde diese Lava gerade hinaus ins Meer gelaufen sein und erkaltet sein. Es sieht irgendwie tot aus, aber überall gibt es kleine Wiesen und Pflanzen, außerdem sehr hübsche Blumen, die das alles etwas beleben. Also das ist sehr, sehr hübsch hier.
The island is shaped by the queer mysteries of nature. The two travelers continue eastward along the coast, where another mystery of the island awaits. The Loess cave looks yellowish red. Teha region in the east part of Ulleung Island is rich in loess. When the island was formed, a large amount of loess was created as a result of a reaction between volcanic heat and salt. Since ancient times, loess has been regarded as a living creature and used for medicinal purposes. During the Joseon dynasty, loess from Ulleung Island was offered to the palace because of its high purity. Professor Huber stands in front of a loess cave, which represents the power of nature and the history of Korea. He's a humanities scholar and artist. What kind of inspiration will he receive from the vivid colors of loess caves? The wind and the rain intensify with time. But this stormy weather approaches like an artistic inspiration to Professor Huber. He pursues conceptual art based on personal experiences and impressions, rather than true view landscape painting based on what he sees.
Pittoresken Ort, der mir sehr gut gefällt. Hier, wo das Meer sich an den harten Steinen bricht, wo diese beiden Basaltkegel herausstehen. Hier im Vordergrund diese Bäume, eindrucksvoll. Dazu die Wolkenformationen ziehen hier herein. Ja, das gefällt mir.
About a 40-minute climb up a forest path from the Loess cave stands the Teha Lighthouse. There's also a monorail to the lighthouse, which is surrounded by the indigenous plants of Ulleung Island. On clear days, visitors get a breathtaking view of the Taepungyong Cliff and the East Sea from the lighthouse. But today, The two friends have come here in this stormy weather for another reason. It's the Tokdo Islets. Tokdo and Ulleung Island are close to each other and can be seen with the naked eye. They represent the eventful history of Korea. Ulleung Island has a mysterious insular natural landscape. Colonies of junipers, a natural monument in Korea, grow on coastal cliffs. In spring, the island is adorned with the red flowers of camellia trees and other unique plant species. It's an enchanting volcanic island, blessed by diverse plant and animal species. The two travelers visit Nari village despite the wind and rain. The village is home to traditional shingle roof houses. Their roofs were made with wide wood logs and fixed with rocks to protect them from the fierce wind. These houses reflect the stormy climate of the island. Professor Huber finds yet another artistic inspiration in the shingle roof houses. The first day of the trip comes to an end amid the stormy weather and strong impressions left by the beautiful landscape of the island. Tired and wet, the travelers return to their lodging to wrap up their busy day.
Das Haus mit den... Ja. Das ist aber komisch, manchmal tut die Kamera anders berechnen. Und dann,
so, ja. Ja, ein schöner Mann.
Ja. Das ist zufällig vorbeigekommen. Ja. Als Lebensraum eine Insel, nicht weit draußen natürlich. Und irgendwie in den Bildern, die ich gemalt habe, sind dann irgendwie manchmal Inseln da eben zum Vorschein gekommen. Wie gesagt, ich male nicht jetzt mit eindeutigem Plan, sondern die entstehen einfach und dann irgendwann reift die Entscheidung, das wäre jetzt eine Insel. Ja? Mhm. Also so läuft das. Und in dem Falle von Ulleung ist es vielleicht so, dass eben ich wusste, das ist eine Vulkaninsel und die Formen sind da etwas pittoresker als an der Westküste. Höhere Berge und dramatischere Landschaften. Das hat mich da interessiert, weil eben auch in der traditionellen Malerei die Landschaften etwas dramatischer sind, also aus den heutigen Nationalparks vielleicht entnommen. Und ja, dann ist der Gedanke gereift, auch mal so eine Insel, also diese große Insel zu besuchen.
The next morning, the travelers visit Nadi Basin. It's the only flatland on Ulleung Island, and it was formed by a sinking caldera. The two visitors stop by a nearby village to chat with locals.
근데 오늘 와보니까 정말 편안해 보이고 좀 신기하더라고요. 이게 조만한 분지인데 보통은 그 천지처럼 물이 있어야 되는데 이 집이 있으니까 신기해 보이죠, 진짜.
Bleiben Sie auch im Winter hier?
겨울에도 여기 자주 머무르세요?
겨울에는 또 이 설경이 아주 좋아요.
네.
가을은 이래 이제 화려한 색채, 겨울에는 백색. 또 특히 울릉도는 우리나라에서 눈이 좀 많이 오는 곳이니까 아주 좋죠. 그 겨울에 오면은 땅을 밟아도 새로운 걸 이제 밟고 나가는 그런 기분. 나는 만약에
Körperliche und geistige Gesundheit.
그러니까 여기서 혼자 계시면 그러니까 서울에서보다 혼자 있지만 더 이게 자신에 대한 생각을 더 할 수 있고 자신을 또 새로운 나 자신을 발견할 수 있고 그러니까 그런 것도 좋을 것 같다고.
Bekommen Sie Wasser von einer Quelle hier auf dieser Insel oder in dieser Caldera oder wie versorgen Sie sich?
울릉도는 거의 전부 다 용철수죠. 땅에서 솟아나는 샘물.
그 물이 막 솟아나오는 걸 볼 수 있는 거예요?
그냥 이래 이제 쉽게 해서 뭐 이래 이런 거는 아니지만 높은 곳에 거의 산 정상 쪽에서 물이 솟아나. 울릉도가 타 지역보다가 지형적으로 그런 차이점이 좀 특이하다.
The travelers set off once again to find spring water.
Und vor allem sehr, sehr ruhig, einsam.
Manchmal hört man die
Vogelstimmen. Ja, ist ganz toll hier. Nicht? Und das ist ja in der Caldera.
Ja, genau.
Ja, also so ein langer Weg.
Beckenform von
In der Becke, so ein langer Weg. Oder so ein langer Park. Das wundert mich schon. Sehr hübsch. Ist wirklich geeignet, um Spaziergang zu machen oder zu joggen. Ja, zu joggen.
Das ist auch gut. Ja.
Wirklich toll.
Ja. Okay.
Spring water shoots from the ground in numerous spots across the island. The total daily output amounts to a massive 25,000 tons, and the quality of the water is recognized worldwide. The spring water is yet another mystery of Mother Nature found on Ulleung Island.
Ja, als ich angekommen bin, war ich doch sehr überrascht, diese Quelle hier zu sehen. Ein kleines Stauwehr mit superklarem Wasser. Also das ist für mich eine sehr große Freude, so etwas hier zu finden. Man möchte hineinspringen oder zumindest einen Schluck davon trinken. So klar ist das. Ja? Also eingepasst in einem wirklich herrlichen Wald. Alte Bäume, die hier liegen. Also ganz natürlich ist der Ort geblieben. Und ich denke, das Wasser muss ganz toll schmecken.
The trip nears its end. Professor Huber ponders on his next painting. An island with a myriad of uniquely shaped rocks. A black and white painting showing the sounds of life, wind, and rain. Has Ulleung Island, a cradle of life, given inspiration to the traveler from Germany.
Ja gut, die Erfahrung dieser Insel, die ich da gemacht habe, wird wahrscheinlich schon mal zu einer Inselserie führen. Ich male ja Serien und nähere mich da an diese Sujets, an so eine Insel. Das werde ich, denke ich, ja, aus der Erinnerung irgendwie reproduzieren. Und ich glaube, es war für mich auf jeden Fall eine gute Inspiration zu dieser doch relativ bizarren und Insel mit dramatischeren Formen zu fahren. Das hat mich doch wirklich sehr beeindruckt.
Fall is at its end. A family sets off on a trip in a camping car. The husband is from Korea. He works at a shipyard. His wife is from the Philippines. They have 3 children and are expecting one more soon. The 6 members go on a special late autumn trip.
가을 여행을 한 번도 해본 적 없으니까 그냥 많이 기대하고 단풍 놀이도 하고 싶었고 그 가을 환경도 그냥 사진 찍고 싶어요.
Where are they headed to? Upo Wetland is the largest complex of wetlands in Korea. As the cradle of natural ecosystem, it was formed 140 million years ago and is home to diverse animals and plants.
새 많다, 윤수야. 저기 비엄주다. 보세요.
여기 좀 깊은가 봐. 물 수면이 잔잔한 게.
이거 빼면 안 돼요.
There are 4 wetlands in this area, with Upo Wetland in the middle. The area is surrounded by 4 trekking routes.
저거 다 모여있네. 그는 오리는 저기서 밥 먹고 있다. 여기 있네. 빨리빨리 해줘. 불러봐.
우리야 이제.
불러봐.
어디야?
우리야.
The visitors are welcomed by eulalia grass and reeds. A stroll in the scenic field takes the visitors to Upo Wetland Eco Center. The untainted Upo Wetland has preserved its original state to this day. It's like one large ecological museum.
이쪽이 원래 우리 강의 모습일 것 같으세요? 원래 자연상의 강의 모습은 이렇게 굽이 차 오른다고 표현이 많이 되죠, 옛날부터. 이렇게 되면서
It's an ideal spot for children to appreciate the importance of nature and traveling. There's also a special section where children can get even closer to nature.
이봐 움직이잖아. 어때? 현수는 어떻노? 재밌어요?
살아있어?
그럼.
나도 항상 있고.
영수야, 그거도 있네. 물에 떠가 있네.
죽은 애는 만져서 재밌어.
City children are intrigued by the freshwater snails. They learn about the preciousness of nature from these small creatures. This wetland is as old as the Korean peninsula. It's home to some 1,500 animal and plant species. Local people, too, have been relying on the nature of the wetland for a very long time. Upo wetland is where humans and the precious heritage of primitive nature coexist. Lilany works for the Busan-based environmental group Global Green Stewards. Its members are foreign expatriates who are dedicated to environmental conservation. That's why today's trip is special to Lilany's family.
여기 나오는 모든 동식물들이 우리가 섭취할 수 있는 겁니까?
예. 그게 우리 먹을 거 많아요. 이 한마디로 말해서 우분업이 식량 창고라. 말밤 있지, 꼬꾸란대 있지, 올비 있지, 예? 먹을 거 많아요. 조개 있지, 꼬딩이 있지, 막 처지 없는 게 없어요. 그게 아주 개한기래요.
그럼 이거 365일은 그냥 아무것도 돈 안 해도 돼요?
예. 예. 그래 우리 보존 잘해가 우리 후손들한테 물려줘야 돼. 이거 간단해.
Upo wetland was not without any crisis. But the dying, overpolluted wetland was revived by the local residents, who knew better than anyone else that humans have the obligation to protect Mother Nature that gives them so much.
지금은 지구가 너무 테크놀로지 너무 앞서니까 이렇게까지도 아직 있어서 처음에 좀 봤어요. 그래서 나라 앞으로 갈 수도 이런 자연 그대로 있으면 같이 하면 좋겠다 그런 느낌이 있어요. 그래서 우리 앞으로도 우리 애들, 우리 손자, 손녀도 이런 장소처럼 방문하고 배우고 그 자연은 preserve 해야 되고 그런 활동 많이 하면 좋겠어요.
Lilany has always been interested in nature because she grew up in a rural area in the Philippines. While in college, she even participated in an environmental movement. She says she wants to take a lot from today's trip in order to convey the messages of nature from Upo wetland to our children. The trip to Upo wetland comes to an end, and the camping car is back on the road. They arrive in a camping ground near Upo wetland. They continue their journey by strolling amid the colorful foliage. Families who visit this camping ground always stop by a nearby persimmon orchard.
어우 잘 따네. 아니 그렇게 따는. 할 수 있어? 응. 조심해 또. 옳지. 와 땄다.
Children and parents pluck persimmons together. They all look excited.
아 예쁘다. 현수도. 이게 어떡해. 옳지.
아니 여기 있어. 이거
또 와 많다.
아니 이거 딱 있어.
They make special memories that only nature can present.
정말 좋죠.
네, 이런 처음 왔어요.
진짜 이런데 볼 수도 돈 주고 가서 볼 수도 없는 자리에 이런 데는 진짜 사람들 오면 다 좋아한다.
너무 좋아요.
너무 저
색깔도.
보면 뭐 달래 같은 거 온갖 고사리 같은 거 없는 게 없어요 밭에.
고사리,
고사리.
직접 고사리를 못 봤어요 아직.
아 고사리 너무 이뻐. 봄에 보면은
봄할 때
여기 땅바닥에서 올라오면 딱이 탁 꺾으면 얼마나 이쁜지 몰라. 나도 한국 사람에도 올해 처음 끊어봤어요. 와갖고. 얼마나 이쁜지 몰라.
진짜요.
아, 진짜 이뻐 고사리가.
그 한 번도 다시 가고 싶어요. 애기 나면.
애기 나가 봄에 안고 왔다 떠들지게.
봄할 때. 여기 사시고 우리 여기 다시 오고 싶어요.
애기 나가지고 안고 봄에 오세요.
코코넛은 우리 애들한테, 우리 손자한테 드린 선물이라서 이런 자연 장소 있으면 좋겠다. 그래서 우리 나중에 손자, 손녀들이 제대로 배웠어요. 시골 환경 있는지, 자연을 잘 관리하고 자연을 배우게 그런 마음은 내 친구들한테 그런 전달하고 싶어요.
아니 여기 좋아요.
재밌었어?
네. 무서웠어요. 떼굴떼굴 도토리가 어디서 왔나. 다람쥐 한눈 팔 때 졸고 있다가 왔지.
Professor Jocelyn Clark takes the final leg of the eco trip.
달이에요. 달이 밝은 밤. This is the picture we took through the telescope of the moon. Didn't come out that great, but anyway, it came out. To see the wetlands from Suncheon. So I don't know what we're going to see, but I think it's a wetland tour.
And it takes about 40 minutes.
Something like that. Yeah.
This is where the songs of life resonate in the vast reed field. Professor Clark and her students visit Suncheon Bay.
When the wind blows, then the 갈대 makes a sound and
그래서 갈 때는요.
without the wind, there's no movement in a woman's heart.
네, 갈 때는 여러 가지 역할을 하지만 옛날 우리 선조도 아주 가난했던 시절 울타리가 되고 지붕이 되고 땔감이 되기도 했었고요. 또한 청소기가 없던 시절 이 갈대 부드러운 꽃을 뽑아다가 빗자루로 만들어 썼었어요. 무엇보다도 갈대하면 물을 정화해주는
Professor Clark teaches East Asian Studies at Paeje University. She's traveling with her students from the same university.
사그라지기를 반복합니다. 네, 지금 가을의 끝자락의 모습을 보고 계시는데요. 네, 지금은 물때가 많이 빠져서 갯벌이 드러나는 시간대가 되겠어요. 그래서 자, 갯벌이 드러나 보이죠? 지금 구멍들도 보이나요? 개도 보이고요.
Funny fish?
네, 망토가 뛰는 모습도 보이죠? 물이 이렇게 빠졌다가 갯벌이 드러나면 지금 모습을 보일 수가 있습니다. 개를 가장 많이 관찰할 수 있는 시기는 여름이 되겠고요. 또한 해질녘. 야행성이라 밤에 활동하는 걸 좋아해요. 그래서 해질녘에 갈대밭 걷다 보면 갈대 잎사귀 이렇게 뜯어먹는 것까지 다 관찰이 가능해요. 지금 모습 보시지만 여름에 꼭 한번 방문해 보세요. 또 다른 느낌입니다.
네. 1, 2, 3.
Born in Alaska, USA, Professor Clark is not familiar with reeds.
The 갈대 is much taller than I expected. One gets the feeling, looking at it from far away, that it's not that high. And of course, you know, the okse on the mountain is not so high, so I was surprised how tall the 갈대 is. And I'm also surprised that there's little crabs, you know, running around underneath the 갈대. I don't know what 갈대 is in English. What is 갈대 in English? I guess it's some kind of, you know, reed. We don't have this in Alaska, so it's not one of the plants that I know, but I find it very interesting that there's all these little crabs running around and these fish with footed fish running around in the middle of the kalte. It's very, very nice in the fall.
Reeds reach their pinnacle at this time of year. Their panoramic view can be seen on a cruise tour. The cruise embarks from Taede Port in Suncheon Bay and lasts for 40 minutes. From the vast reed fields stretching along the waterway to migratory birds flying above, this eco-cruise is a chance to see all kinds of creatures from close by.
지금 오른쪽에 이쪽에 우리가 지나가는 구간들을 보면요, 이 갈대의 원형군락을 보실 수가 있는데요. 원 없이 보고 가십시오. 다 가져가셔도 절대로 가져가지 말라 말씀 안 드립니다. 이 오른쪽에 있는 오리들은 청둥오리입니다. 아니나 다를까 오리 아니랄까봐 띠뚱띠뚱 걸어가고 있는데 쟤들이 살이 올라서 수천만에 올 때는 빽빽 날라가 왔는데요. 수천만의 갯벌 속에 있는 고기가 얼마나 풍부하든지 오동오동하게 살이 올랐습니다.
Thanks to the witty guide, everyone seems to be enjoying the tour.
그래서 이곳에서부터 바다 산책을 시작이 된다. 말씀이 되겠고요. 정면에 보시면 산이 하나 길게 누워 있어요. 이름을 동산이라고 해요. 저가 지었거든요. 주셔도 되고 안 믿으셔도 상관없습니다.
Suncheon Bay is home to many of the world's endangered bird species, such as hooded and white-naped cranes, as well as hundreds of migratory bird species that are indigenous to Korea. This tour offers glimpses into the lives of migratory birds.
Coming into nature makes you calm, right? It gives you a quiet calmness that can, make you feel centered enough to play gayageum at the moment you need to play. If you're so busy and you have cell phone and you have, computer and you have, everything's so busy and everything's so noisy, then it's really hard to practice in that kind of situation. So coming to nature can make you feel in a spot where you could actually express what you want to express from culture.
People always look for serenity in nature. Preserved in its original state, Suncheon Bay is an internationally protected area. It's where many species find their home. Hence, people who visit this area meet more than nature's serenity. They meet the primeval form of life.
I feel really good because I'm a big fan of nature, and here in Korea I really enjoy all the places I visited. I've already been to Jeju Island and many other natural parks, so this is first time for me being here, and it's a really nice place. I really like Korea's nature.
to the little
Professor
there.
Clark and her students walk through a vast reed field to continue their journey
It's like the
through
hottest day
Suncheon Bay.
is today.
They stop for a minute, then a gayageum performance begins. Professor Clark first learned how to play the gayageum when she was 22. It was after she had already learned the Japanese koto and the Chinese cheng. But she chose Korea, and she chose the gayageum. She returns the beauty of nature in Suncheon Bay with the sounds of the gayageum. What story does she want to tell Suncheon Bay and her students through her gayageum?
이렇게 자연에 와서 이렇게 가야금 소리를 이렇게 들을 수 있다는 게 굉장히 이렇게 좋은 것 같고요. 그리고 이렇게 바람도 불고 갈대도 이렇게 움직이는데 뭔가 가야금 소리와 굉장히 잘 어우러지는 그런 소리였던 것 같아요.
This is a really beautiful place here in Suncheon, and it's actually a really beautiful day. We had a beautiful sunrise, and it's very sort of, what do you want to say, prototypical day with the sun shining on the blooms of the galde and on the okse, and the reeds, and you can hear the sound of the reeds rustling in the wind. And there's cosmos flowers blooming in front of them, so it's quite a beautiful space here.
Suncheon Bay is visited by tourists year-round, thanks to its mudflats, colonies of plants, and beautiful waterways. In autumn, this place becomes one spellbinding picture. The Sueda japonica is known to have 7 colors that change with the season. In fall, they dress Suncheon Bay in red, creating a breathtaking view.
칠면초 means 7-faced weed.
But I wonder why it's red.
Maybe it eats shrimp. I'm serious. Those animals that eat shrimp, they turn red. I don't know why it's red though. I always wondered what this red kind of plant was in Korea. Every time I go to the Incheon airport, I see the red color, and at first I thought it was some kind of algae, but this is the first time I've been able to get close enough to see it. It's a strange kind of plant. It feels a little bit like seaweed if it was green, but it's not green. This is called a 7-faced weed or 7-faced grass, and I asked why it's called that, and they said that it was because depending on the weather and the sunlight, it has 7 different colors during the year. And with the 갈대 and the okse sort of starting to fall off, it almost looks like it's snowing on top of this red weed. It's actually quite beautiful.
Sometimes Professor Clark uses her gayageum at her lectures. She's an envoy of Asian culture and the gayageum. To her, Korea and the gayageum have a special meaning. The sounds of life that she heard today in Suncheon Bay have left a strong impression in her heart.
너무 멋있죠.
This is where Suncheon Bay as a whole, with its S-shaped waterway, looms into view. The travelers wrap up their trip by enjoying the beautiful sunset, merging with the wetland, the sky, and the river. Professor Clark says that the sound of the gayageum is very similar to the human voice. Today, she has discovered the vibrant sounds of life in Suncheon Bay. Her gayageum will probably convey this warmth of life.
Actually, I think there's no words for this kind of a scene. I think it says everything without saying anything. For this kind of a scene, you need a poet to express this kind of beauty. So, I have nothing to say. But maybe tonight I will go home and write some kind of poem.
An autumn trip into nature. The heart-moving stories of nature, told through harsh storms and tickling whispers. All of the travelers heard one story today, the immortal message of the importance of nature, life, and coexistence.